Shabbat shalom, everyone. I hope you're doing well. This week's parsha is Va'era. It's the second parsha in the book of Shemot, the book of Exodus. And so last week we're introduced to Moses, and his story begins. So Moses is one of the Hebrew baby boys that Pharaoh tried to kill. His mother Yocheved puts him in a basket to save him from being taken, and he floats down the river Nile, and he ends up in the house of Pharaoh. He floats into Pharaoh's daughter's the area where Pharaoh's daughter was bathing, and she takes him in, and he's raised as a prince of Egypt, even though he's fully a Jew. Moses, he speaks Egyptian, dresses Egyptian, etc., etc. But one day he sees an old Jewish Israelite slave being abused by an Egyptian taskmaster, and Moses looks one way, looks the other, doesn't see anyone that is doing anything, and he strikes down the Egyptian taskmaster. And because of this, he flees to the desert of Midian, where he meets his wife Zipporah and her father Jethro, and Moses lives in Midian for a lot of years. It's not till he's 80 that he experiences the vision of the burning bush. So he's young when he has to leave Egypt, and he spends most of his life living in the desert of Midian. But the first thing that we hear from or a hint to how Moshe was feeling was that his first son was named Gershom, which Ger is a stranger and Sham is there. He named his son Stranger there because even in Midian, Moses felt like a stranger. So he lives his whole life in the desert of Midian, and then one day he has the vision of the burning bush, and God tells him, "You are the person who's going to go free the people." And he's like, "Why me? I'm not connected to these people at all." He wasn't raised as a Jew. Yes, he felt connected in a way that he, struck down that Egyptian taskmaster, but he wasn't, he's not a Jew. He wasn't raised as a Jew. Why is it that he's the person who should be the leader? And we don't really know. In fact, he was an unbelievable leader. But what makes him such a good leader is that he, like any Jew, has a pintaliyid, the bit of Jewishness deep inside of him. Because when he saw that Egyptian taskmaster being unkind to the Israelite slave, he stepped in and did something. When God says you're going to be the people to free the people, he does it anyway, even though he doesn't really want to. He has the pintaliyid. He has that this spark of Jewishness deep down inside of him that we all have, that we all feel when we see a Jew in pain or see a Jew suffering. And so that is what is so special about the Jewish people, that no matter what, we are connected in this way. And so in Va'era, at the beginning of that parsha, God says, I've showed myself to your forefathers, Moses, but I've never come to them in this way. And what he means by that is I've never come to them willing to interfere in history. And so they say this is the beginning of the Jewish people and God working together. God directly interferes with the events of history by ensuring that the Jewish people can be freed from Egypt. In this parsha, we have the beginning few plagues in order to finally get Pharaoh to release the Jewish people. And this is in collaboration, Moses and God working together. And this begins the tradition of the Jewish people working in tandem with God to make this world a better place. We are partners in creation. We aren't just here floating along with not being able to control anything. We are partners in creation with God, and we have to always remember that. So, Shabbat Shalom. God willing, all of you will have a great restful Shabbat, and I'll see you, God willing, next week.